There are 40 million menstruators out of our 140 billion population, and you'll be surprised to know that only 12% have access to a safe period product. Forget about a menstrual cup, which is just a cloth, a clean piece of cloth or a simple sanitary pad. They are bound to use leaves, paper, ash, husk, sand.
My God.
Can you imagine yourself putting your undergarment, putting sand to soak your menstrual blood?
The word menstruation starts with the word men. Yet, in most parts of the world, including developed countries, men and surprisingly women too have kept themselves ignorant about this basic process of women's ability to create human life. Is it a taboo? No. Is it dirty? No. Is it limited only to women? No. Building awareness about menstruation health and hygiene management is the need of the hour, says the director of Humjoli Foundation and a corporate health and wellness coach, Dr. Sania Siddiqui, on this episode of Convo Rhythm. So, welcome on the show, Sania Siddiqui.
Thank you.
Menstruation. Now, this particular topic, I mean, it is such a key topic, right? I mean, it's so common, but talking about menstruation has always been like, behind the curtains, or, why do you think that exists in our society?
Well, menstruation, as you said, has been and still is a taboo in the society. It's an unspeakable, I would say, term. किसी को ज़ोर से ये कहना कि मुझे आज पीरियड, आई एम इन माई पीरियड, या आई नीड अ सैनिटरी पैड, ये फिर भी शायद मैं अपने फ्रेंड से इतने ओपनली नहीं बोल पाऊंगी जैसे मैं ये बोलूँगी कि यार मुझे आज सर्दी खांसी हो रहा है, राइट? तो इट इज़ स्टिल वेरी मच देयर. ऑफ कोर्स इसका बैकग्राउंड बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग रहा है क्योंकि हमारे कल्चरली मेंस्ट्रुएशन को एक इम्प्योरिटी के साथ में एसोसिएट किया गया है. तो बहुत सारे रिस्ट्रिक्शंस हमेशा रहते हैं उससे रिलेटेड. तो मेंस्ट्रुएशन अभी भी एक बहुत अनस्पीकेबल सा बात है. उसका कॉन्वर्सेशन बहुत पोलाइट नहीं माना जाता है. इफ़ यू आर सिटिंग विद समवन अलाउड,
राइट?
सो दैट हैज़ बीन देयर, बट आई वुड से आई एम glad that the scenario is changing. People like you, we are talking like this about periods, which is a great thing. And yes, the conversation has started.
Right. That's nice, because as a kid, I mean, we would. I still remember I had gone to my friend's place, and there was so my friend's elder sister. She basically did this to her mom and said, "Dandi gul." And I didn't know what that meant, and I kept on asking my friend, and he was like, "I don't know, man, they keep on talking something rubbish." So in fact, even pronouncing that word, right, was kind of considered as sadly obnoxious. True. You shouldn't utter anything about that, or talk openly about that. I'm not saying that you just go around and boldly say that I have this.
I mean, if need be, I mean, if you need to ask for something, is fine. But we don't say you go and make it a dinner table conversation.
Correct.
That is also not needed.
Correct.
But the conversation should be open enough when the need is there.
Right. And what inspired you to take up this? I mean, was it a moment in your life, or in the life of someone that you had seen? Was that the starting point of this particular foundation or the movement, or was it kind of you always wanted to do this, and you were a doctor, and all of that?
So well, all along I have been meeting mothers, girls, young girls who always had this challenge that they had been having so many issues, menstrual irregularities or otherwise also, and they thought it's इतनी बड़ी बात भी नहीं है कि किसी डॉक्टर के पास जाके कंसल्टेशन लेके करे, लेकिन किसी और से बात करने का भी इतना ओपन नहीं है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल मदर्स आते थे, वो उनको यही नहीं पता होता था कि माई डॉटर इज लाइक 12 years old, आई नीड टू इंट्रोड्यूस दिस कॉन्सेप्ट दैट शी माइट बिगिन हर पीरियड वेरी सून. आई डोंट नो how to tell her, right? I don't have the right words, so please you tell her, being a practitioner.
Right.
Now I found this very amusing. You being the mother, you being all educated and everything, you find it awkward to speak about this,
Yeah,
because you were right also. You were saying, I don't want to scare the girl, it involves blood, right? So there I understood the gap, that of course there is a very there should be a very specific way to talk about it, because we don't want to scare a 10, 11, 12-year-old girl ki this is going to happen. So there has to be a very comprehensive, modulated way to to announce ki, okay, these are the changes happening in your body, and this is going to come, this is how you have to manage it. So that's one thing which I thought ki yes, a proper way of educating young girls and otherwise also should be there. Apart from them, not in the urban I would say, but when I used to visit the rural places, or I have met people from that community, I have realized, I mean, we are living in luxury. I mean, we have the best of the products. लिक्विड जाएगा तो जेल बन जाएगा, कप है उसके अंदर जाएगा. We have all the best of the resources to manage our menstrual blood, but if you think about millions of women in our country, they don't even have a clean rag to use during their periods, because they don't have the availability, they don't have the affordability, and also the awareness about what they have to use. So the situation was really bad. I will share a very short incident with you, which was really very, I mean, disheartening, and which actually made me think, you know, I need to go and work on the ground level. So there was this distribution drive happening in one of the rural areas, and the volunteers were distributing packets and packets of sanitary pads to, they were going house to house. So there was this one lady, she told the volunteer कि भैया आप मुझे ये इतने 4-5 पैकेट्स दे रहे हो, मेरे घर में हम 4 औरतें हैं, 4 लड़कियां हैं जिनको महीना होता है, हम लोगों के पास चारों के बीच में केवल 2 नीचे पहनने के कपड़े हैं, मतलब 2 अंडरगारमेंट हैं, जिसको महीना होता है उसको वो पहनने को मिलता है.
ओह माय गॉड.
सो आप ये इतने पैड दे रहे हो, हमारे पास उसको रखने के लिए नई जगह है, हम कैसे क्या यूज करेंगे इसको? I mean, just think of that situation when you have to exchange your undergarment to put a pad in. So that is the extent of period poverty, I would say, in our country. And that really made me comprehend that this challenge has to be taken care. It is not only government's responsibility, it is everyone's responsibility to come forward and do whatever they can. So that's when we decided कि नहीं, and of course we have been listening so many stories जहाँ पे awareness ना होने की वजह से people were losing lives, just क्योंकि उनको पता नहीं है कि गंदा कपड़ा इस्तेमाल नहीं करना है, and they were doing so, and they were contracting infections, urinary infections, reproductive infections, and some of them, I mean, it might develop into septicemia, which is a fatal condition. So all that together was happening, and then a point came in when I thought कि let me do my bit. And that's how I started Humjoli Foundation, and that's what we are doing under Humjoli Foundation.
How long it has been since you
So
started?
officially I would say we started in 2018.
Okay. So around 5 years, you can say. Great. You spoke about period poverty. Now, is it period poverty or period knowledge poverty? What would you
extremely a very right question and right platform to cover this. So period poverty, as a term, definition wise, it means lack of period product. It is not only lack of period product कि सिर्फ pad नहीं है या कपड़ा नहीं है, but knowledge, awareness, safe changing space, water, sanitation, hygiene. Lack of any of these makes a person deficient or makes them fall in this category of period poverty. So what we do under Humjoli Foundation, we create awareness, and we also do a lot of distribution drives. So under awareness, we conduct MHM, menstrual health and hygiene management sessions in the communities, basti, jhuggi, schools, colleges, corporates. So any set of audience that we get, we have a different module for them to cater to. So it is not what I am going to be talking to a 7th grader. Is going to be same what I am going to be daily wager that I'll talk to, because I know their requirement, their understanding level, everything is different.
Right.
So that's why we have different set of modules. Then we do distribution drives as well. So we have made, after this incident what I told you about, they didn't have the undergarments to wear. So our period hygiene kit, it has enough number of sanitary products. It could be sanitary pads, biodegradable, non-biodegradable. It could be cloth pads or a menstrual cup as the need is.
The package,
Then it has new undergarments. Then it has soap. And also, since disposal is a huge issue, so we also provide disposal bags with it. So that because women, they tend to just discard the used product anywhere, and then again it leads to a bigger menace. So we provide them proper disposal bags.
Right, because I had I mean, when you're talking about disposal, I recollect one of our I think one of my friends, she experienced that somebody had thrown used sanitary pad from their balcony or from the washroom, and it was stuck in her the toilet window, which is
can you imagine?
As gross that as it can get in terms of lack of
basic civic
sense,
hygiene part, because the other person who's throwing it, either what do, they flush it, they think yahan se to gaya. They have no idea it will swell up, it has cellulose, and the kind of material it is made of, it is eventually going to block any of the smaller drainage. That's how it happens. So they, उनको लगता है हमारे पास से प्रॉब्लम गई, आगे जो होगा वो देखा जाएगा. Which is so wrong. उसके अलावा जो पब्लिक वॉशरूम्स में अगर आप जाएं, जो स्पेशली जैसे गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स हैं या जहाँ पे फैसिलिटीज़ बहुत अच्छी नहीं हैं, सो गर्ल्स दे हैव अ टेंडेंसी ऑफ जस्ट ड्रॉपिंग इट ओवर देयर, बिकॉज कोई तो कैमरा तो लगा नहीं, पता नहीं चलेगा किसने डाला है, एंड दे डोंट इवन हैव द बेसिक रिसोर्सेज ना, डस्टबिन ही नहीं है तो वो भी कहाँ डालेंगे. सो बहुत सारे डिस्पोजल इज एन इशू जिसमें अवेयरनेस का भी रोल बहुत बड़ा है. वी नीड टू टेल देम हाउ, व्हाट इज द प्रॉपर वे ऑफ डिस्पोजल. फॉर एग्जांपल, आई विल टेल यू अ वेरी स्मॉल थिंग. So I was conducting this corporate session, and all educated engineers, urban ladies were there, and we were talking about tampon. And so we were talking about the disposal. So tampon is made of a similar product of what a sanitary pad is made. Right? So it is a non-biodegradable, and it is of the similar material. So she said ki yeah, I know tampons are much better. You can just simply flush it off. And it is. So I told her, no, you cannot flush a tampon as well. No, ma'am, it's made of cotton only. She said, it's okay. It's just like cotton only. It's just like tissue paper.
It's compact
hota hai. So it's okay to flush it like that. So these are some of the smallest things that the awareness is not about there.
As probably because it's not spoken so openly.
So, have you ever seen a tampon ad?
I haven't.
On television at least, I'm saying, not the social media.
No, I haven't.
A menstrual cup?
Yeah, that I'm aware of.
No, but you might not see a commercial ad on television.
Absolutely no.
So the awareness is not there.
Right. And also I think that, I don't know how many men think, but I personally feel extremely ashamed of not keeping myself up to date with this information, because I have a daughter, I have a wife, and we have women in the society. How are we going to empathize with them, or let's not call it empathize, because it's I mean, it's natural.
It's natural.
It's
it doesn't need to.
Right?
Empathy
but
maybe is not needed here.
Is not
it's just
needed
the
here.
Comfort, maybe you can say.
I mean, the openness, or the assurance that men can, that probably women need from men, or maybe men can give women. So, how do you think it's considered as a female education a lot? How do you think, of course, men need to sensitize themselves about this, but are there any programs to sensitize men also about this?
Absolutely. If you even look at the term menstruation, so men is already there.
Very true.
Right?
Very true.
Men is an integral part of the whole process.
Right.
See, because every man has all the female relationships around him. At any point of time, he has to deal with a certain thing associated with them. So men cannot just raise their hand कि भाई हमारा काम नहीं है या हमसे मतलब नहीं है इस चीज़ का. It's a woman's thing.
Right.
No, it's a human's thing.
Right.
It's not only a woman's issue. It's a human. I will not even call it an issue, but it's a human's thing. right? So men can very well participate in this conversation and will be instrumental in bringing the change, I would say.
Right.
Right. So now if you ask me how men can participate, what they can do.
Yeah.
So starting very early, if I would say, if you have a boy in the house, and irrespective he has a sibling daughter or not, a sister or not, right? Still, a mother's duty, a father's duty is at a certain age, when he's 13, 14, you know, mature enough to understand, you should be talking about it. ऐसा नहीं है कि उसकी बहन है घर में इसलिए ही आपको उसको बताना है. Otherwise also you should tell your boy कि okay, so you know, and at that age I'm sure he knows कि okay, there is a thing, periods होता है लड़कियों को. क्या होता है, you just have to tell them in a very simple language कि it's a normal physiological process. It happens to everyone. It happens to your mother, your dadi, your nani, and only because this happened, that's why we all are here. Right.
Exactly.
Genesis of the whole
absolutely.
Mankind.
And I really love. I really love your tagline, which says that शर्म नहीं क्षमता है.
शर्म नहीं क्षमता
है. I mean, it's so wonderful. I think it wraps up the entire phenomenon, if I can call it, in that one statement. So brilliant work there. And it's, I mean, as we have become more progressive, right? The society has become more progressive. I think it's not just calling it as male or female. I think is there a term?
Absolutely, very well pointed out. So in today's time, when we are all talking about inclusivity, we understand what inclusivity is about. Not all women menstruate, and not all menstruators are women. Right? So there are non-binary people who menstruate. So we need to understand that सिर्फ ये बोलना कि girls are having period or women, they are having issues, and no. Let's be inclusive. Let's use the term menstruators.
Menstruator.
So basically, let's use the term menstruators.
Because so menstruators is like a power.
Is a powerful word, right?
That's brilliant.
Right.
I know you are a content writer. I am a content writer. I can't help but find the word period itself as a a barrier kind of a thing. When you say period, that's end of it. You don't do anything. That's all. I mean, I think it's also the attitude of people in our society that they don't call it menstruation, they call it period. And that affects their thought process probably.
Right. You are very correct in this. What has happened, actually I'll tell you how maybe the period thing has started up. So menstruation is just a part of the whole cycle. So as you know, menstrual cycle is a complete thing. And it is like it can be from 23 to 35 days cycle. It has different phases if you talk about physiology. So menstruation, the bleeding part, is only a part of that whole cycle. And that is called menstruation. Right. So because it is a cyclic process, and that's why somehow, I don't know, periodical it has started coming out. So possibly that is the reason, but otherwise I think or maybe people find menstruation too long and too medical word, isliye they don't say it. So but I have come across very funny names for it, like when we go to schools and we ask girls, okay, क्योंकि we know कि how we call it different names. Because जिसको period, वो ये नहीं बोलेगी कि मेरे को menstruation, I'm menstruating or I'm having. So they have very funny names. So one of the girls said, we say आज मेरा happy birthday है. So I'm like, हर महीने happy birthday है. That's nice.
Great. It's a positive thing, right?
I mean, it's a happy thing.
Yeah, it's a happy thing.
So they would say आज मेरा happy birthday है, auntie आई है. So जैसे US में वो बोलते हैं it's shark day or something. So every culture, every region, they have their different given names to it.
I think schools nowadays are doing a very good job in adult education as such. However, I'm not sure how it goes on with period education. Do you have that as a part of a curriculum in school? Or?
I'll tell you what. In commercial and private schools, yes, they do have a 1 half-an-hour session separately for girls and boys, because I am telling you from my experience, from my daughter's school's experience. So it was a different setup, different classroom, 30-minute session. When she came by, I asked her कि what did, and they take consent before conducting the session.
Right.
And she told me कि yeah, they just told कि this happens and for 5 days the bleeding occurs and this, and then you have to use it. Fine, I understand, at least this much is happening, but there are so much more beyond this that has to be told, that should be told, which is not being done. So that happens. Now think of a school in 80 kilometers out of Pune, in a very rural setup.
Right.
Who's talking about this there? Anyone? Even if at all है भी अगर वो syllabus में थोड़ा सा, and that is also not by the term कि period education या कुछ, menstrual cycle as such एक छोटा paragraph होता है. It is very technical. It is all physiology. It will only speak about all the 4 phases maybe, and good matlab what is normal, what is not, good, bad, what could be the irregularities, when to, nothing is there. And even with that one particular paragraph, teacher says ये तुम घर में अपने आप पढ़ लेना, क्योंकि क्लास में बॉयज़ भी हैं, गर्ल्स भी हैं, टीचर खुद कंफर्टेबल नहीं है उसको बताने के लिए, तो वो जो इतना सा भी है वो भी बच्चे अपने आप ही पढ़ रहे हैं.
राइट.
एंड एक नहीं दो नहीं, कितने स्कूल्स में स्टूडेंट्स हैव टोल्ड दिस कि मैम वो तो हमने अपने आप, मैम ने बोला था पढ़ लेना.
राइट. Do you think social media is helping in any way?
Yes, absolutely. Social media is actually doing more than other programs and other things are doing. Because this is where you will see menstrual cup, how does it look like, what is a tampon, what are cloth pads and everything else.
Right.
Okay, brand promotions हैं, fine, but at least awareness भी वहीं से ही आ रही है.
Right. I mean, you have represented India in several, I think, conferences internationally.
Right.
So, what has your experience been there? I mean, is it the same scenario there, or is it more sort of an aware society?
Right. So, basically, period poverty, what we talked about, is actually a global issue. As per World Bank, 500 million menstruators are under period poverty, which means they don't have access to a basic period product, or water, or a safe place to change. Right? So that is a huge number.
Right.
Now, being in India, like as you told me, I was invited to this period poverty summit in Australia.
Right.
And more than 50 countries were participating, delegates were there.
Right.
And everyone was speaking about period poverty. So period poverty is definitely there, but of course for them it is in much smaller numbers. Right, considering their population and everything else. So their number, but still they are so, it was a big thing for them. Although we are such a huge country, and if I give you numbers, we are approximately, there are 40 million menstruators out of our 140 billion population. So the 40 million is there. And you'll be surprised to know that only 12% have access to a safe period product, which is, forget about a menstrual cup, which is just a cloth, a clean piece of cloth, or a simple sanitary pad. Only 12%. So what 88% are doing, you must be wondering.
My goodness, I mean, so much for the progressive society, right? I mean,
trust me, they are, I mean, you and me and everyone else, I think, who is going to be watching this, they can never comprehend that actually this is happening. But yes, they are bound to use leaves, paper, ash, husk, sand.
My God.
Can you imagine yourself putting in your undergarment, putting sand to soak your menstrual blood?
My God. I mean, discomfort is probably the least of the concerns, but the repercussions of that.
Imagine, yes, of course. All sorts of urinary tract infections, reproductive tract infection.
My God.
So that is the state. So that's what I'm saying. Yes, period poverty is anyways there in most of the countries, and a lot of countries have done so well. I mean, if you look at Scotland, if you look at New Zealand, they are providing free period products to their population. So there are countries who are doing very strongly, and they are much smaller population also. We understand that. So, but and I will say yes, government schemes in our country are also there. But as we know, I mean, it is a little difficult to reach such a large population.
Large audience and diverse. I mean,
and diverse population. So government schemes are there, but still it will take a bit
Right.
to reach out to everyone.
Okay, so talking about the basics,
हाँ.
what does a period actually mean?
So if I tell you in a very simple layman's language कि period क्यों होता है, क्या होता है period. So what happens is कि when a girl reaches puberty, which is around 10, 11, 12, 13 years of age, सबका अलग अलग बॉडी के हिसाब से होता है, तो बहुत सारे बॉडी में चेंजेस हो रहे होते हैं. तो जो लैंडमार्क माइलस्टोन चेंज होता है कि द गर्ल स्टार्ट्स हैविंग हर मेंस्ट्रुअल साइकिल. तो जो भी हार्मोनल चेंजेस हो रहे हैं उसकी वजह से जो रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम है, फीमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम विच हैज़ यूट्रस, ओवरीज, फैलोपियन ट्यूब्स एंड वजाइनल कैनाल, सो उसके अंदर भी बहुत सारे हार्मोनल चेंजेस की वजह से हो रहे होते हैं. एंड दैट्स व्हेन द मेंस्ट्रुअल साइकिल और मेंस्ट्रुएशन स्टार्ट्स. नाउ व्हाई डज इट हैपन? तो सिंपल भाषा में बताऊंगी तो ये इसलिए होता है कि हर महीने हमारा यूट्रस तैयारी करता है कि उसके अंदर एक गेस्ट आने वाला है, विच इज़ अ बेबी. इरिस्पेक्टिव कि वो लड़की 13 साल की है कि 23 साल की है, शी वॉन्ट्स अ बेबी और नॉट, एवरी मंथ इट विल प्रिपेयर इटसेल्फ टू वेलकम अ बेबी. एंड वो प्रिपरेशन कैसे होती है कि जो यूट्रस के अंदर की लाइनिंग होती है जिसको एंडोमेट्रियम बोलते हैं, वो उसको थिकन कर लेता है, मोटा करता है. जब हमारे घर में गेस्ट आते हैं हम क्या करते हैं, वी वांट टू मेक देम कंफर्टेबल, तो उसके लिए कुशनिंग. तो उसी तरह से यूट्रस भी एक गद्देदार जैसी एक लेयर बना लेता है कि बेबी आएगा तो वहाँ पे अच्छी तरह से इट विल बी कंफर्टेबल. नाउ सिंस द बेबी डजंट कम एवरी मंथ, तो वो यूट्रस थोड़ा अपसेट हो जाता है और वो कहता है ये सब हटाओ, इसकी कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है, और वो उस लाइनिंग को शेड करना स्टार्ट कर देता है. और तोड़ तोड़ के आई वुड से कि वो मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि एक दिन में कोई टैप खोला और सारा जो ब्लड था वो बाहर है. इट विल टेक कपल ऑफ डेज, 3 to 7 days के अंदर वो जो लाइनिंग बनी होती है वो बाहर निकल जाती है, एंड दैट इज योर पीरियड ब्लड. नाउ सिंस दिस लाइनिंग इज मेड अप मेजरली ऑफ ब्लड, along with blood there is like mucus and clots and water and a lot more many things. तो वो जो ब्लड है आपको ऐसा लगता है इट्स अ डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ ब्लड, जबकि ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं. इट्स द सेम ब्लड which is running in rest of your body. Yeah. Only that it is mixed with few other things. Because it has come out from endometrium.
For a special thing.
Which is a cushiony thing. So that is simple form of our period blood. इसके साथ में अगर आप देखेंगे तो एक और कॉन्सेप्ट जुड़ा होता है कि इम्प्योरिटी का. पीरियड ब्लड गंदा खून है. ज़्यादातर एक यही है कि ये खून गंदा है. तो इसीलिए मैं आपको ये बता रही हूँ कि इसके अंदर कोई गंदगी जैसी कोई नई चीज़ नहीं मिली है विच इज़ मेकिंग इट डर्टी. सो पीरियड ब्लड इज़ नॉट डर्टी. लेकिन फिर भी जो गंदा खून का कॉन्सेप्ट है वो मैं बताती हूँ आपको कहाँ से आता है. एक छोटी सी उसके पीछे एक स्टोरी बताती हूँ कि और ये शायद मुझे लगता है सब लड़कियों के साथ होता है और सब मदर्स के साथ होता है कि जब उनकी बेटी को पहली बार पीरियड स्टार्ट होते हैं और वो जाके उनको बोलती है या मदर को बताती है ऐसा हो गया है, तो उसकी माँ हमेशा उसको ये बोलती है कि कोई बात नहीं बेटा, ये बॉडी का, शरीर का थोड़ा सा गंदा खून है जो हर महीने निकल जाता है. The moment you are telling your daughter who's like 10, 11, 12, 13 कि it is dirty byproduct of या dirty blood of your body which is being discarded, वहीं से नेगेटिविटी शुरू हो जाती है. आप जब किसी चीज़ को गंदा बोलोगे तो नेगेटिव उसका इफेक्ट आ ही जाता है. तो वो बच्चे के जहन में शुरू से ही आ जाता है कि ये चीज़ गंदी है. राइट. दूसरा गंदे से इसको एसोसिएट करने का ये भी है कि एनाटॉमिकली जहाँ से ये ब्लड आता है विच इज़ द वेजाइनल ओपनिंग, उसके आसपास ही हमारे जो एक्सक्रीटा आते हैं, यानी कि यूरेथ्रा है जहाँ से यूरिन आता है, या जो एनल कैनाल है जहाँ से स्टूल आता है, प्रॉक्सिमिटी बहुत पास है. उसकी वजह से भी आप इसको गंदा या डर्टी समझते हो, बट इट्स नॉट एक्सक्रीटा. इट इज़ जस्ट द अनवांटेड ब्लड, यू कैन से, रादर देन सेइंग कि डर्टी है, but it's unwanted, I would say. When I remember I was in 12 or something, so मैं फिजिक्स में मतलब ट्यूशन चल रहा था, मुझे अच्छी तरह से याद है, and I came back, I think something is not right, and I went inside the washroom and फिर मैंने देखा अरे मेरे को शायद चोट लग गई. I thought that it was my first year, and this happens with most of the girls. उनको लगता है चोट लग गई है, उसकी वजह से there is blood in the underpant. फिर वो लगता है चोट तो नहीं लगी है. फिर मुझे लगा कि मुझे कुछ बीमारी हो गई है, कैंसर पॉसिबली, द फर्स्ट दैट यू कैन थिंक ऑफ, कैंसर हो गया. खैर, तो आई कॉल्ड माय मदर एंड देन आई told her and she was like हाँ हाँ अच्छा it's okay fine कोई बात नहीं ऐसा होता है it's fine सबके साथ होता है this and that and she told me what to do. So later when we were sitting and I asked her but क्यों मतलब पता तो था मुझे भी होता है लेकिन एक you want to listen from और उतना नहीं पता था exactly physiology नहीं पता थी but अपने friends और seniors से पता था कि होता है. तो I asked her but क्यों होता है तो she told me categorically this sentence I remember कि बेटा कोई बात नहीं हर महीने ना हमारे बॉडी में थोड़ा सा गंदा खून होता है और वो निकल जाता है. और ये सिर्फ मेरे साथ नहीं, आई एम टेलिंग यू, इफ आई आस्क एनीवन, दिस इज द टर्मिनोलॉजी दैट दे यूज व्हिच इज सो रॉन्ग, व्हिच इज सो रॉन्ग.
I think it's also about the generation, right?
अगर वो इतना भी बोले ना, ये भी उनको बता दिया जाए कि आप ये बोलो कि अनवांटेड खून होता है, फिर भी समझ में आता है. बट गंदा बोलना उसको है ना, तो एक टोटल एक अलग ही उसमें चला जाता है. इफ someone is not having, a woman is not, or any menstruator is not having period, I mean that is not healthy for her.
Correct.
Then she should go and see a doctor.
Right, absolutely. So when do you think is the right time to visit a doctor? I mean, you spoke about irregular periods and things like that. So when should one be concerned and visit a doctor?
Okay, so menstrual irregularities बहुत तरह की हो सकती हैं और अलग अलग स्टेजेस पे हो सकती हैं. सो सबसे पहली मेंस्ट्रुअल इरेगुलरिटीज़ जो होती है वो ये है कि इरेगुलर पीरियड ही हो गया, यानी कि जो हमारा साइकिल है, जो एक एवरेज साइकिल 28 डेज़ का है, वो डिसरप्ट हो गया, या तो एवरी 20 डेज़ होने लगा या एवरी 35 डेज़ होने लगा. सो कभी भी डिसरप्शन अगर होता है किसी तरह का है, सो वन शुड एटलीस्ट लुक फॉर 3 मंथ साइकिल, क्योंकि कभी कभी सिर्फ स्ट्रेस, सिंपल स्ट्रेस की वजह से पीरियड लेट हो सकता है.
Right.
अगर कोई बहुत ज़्यादा फिजियोलॉजिकल कॉज नहीं भी है तो भी बहुत सारे रीजंस हो सकते हैं जिसकी वजह से हो सकता है. तो एकदम भी पैनिक करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है कि एक बार में ही यू आर रशिंग टू अ डॉक्टर. लेकिन एटलीस्ट अगर आपको कोई भी चेंज कॉन्जिक्यूटिवली 3 महीने तक लग रहा है, देन यू शुड go and visit a gynecologist and see कि maybe they might run a couple of tests. दूसरी चीज़ होती है कि अगर हम मेंस्ट्रुएशन में एक चीज़ बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है वो है क्योंकि इसके साथ में डिस्कम्फर्ट थोड़ा सा एसोसिएटेड होता है. कई लोगों को तो बहुत सिवियर क्रैम्प्स, एब्डोमिनल क्रैम्प्स होते हैं जिसको पीरियड पेन बोलते हैं, बहुत सिवियर होता है, और किसी को बिल्कुल नहीं होता है. तो सबके अपना अपना अलग सबका बॉडी के रिएक्ट करने का तरीका है. लेकिन यहाँ पे एक चीज़ जो मिस आउट हो जाती है वो ये है, क्योंकि हम सभी को ही पता होता है कि हाँ थोड़ा बहुत पेन तो होता है, चलता है, लेकिन कुछ मेडिकल कंडीशंस ऐसी हैं जैसे कि एंडोमेट्रियोसिस है या अगर फाइब्रॉइड्स हैं तो सिवियर पेन होता है, और उसको लोग शायद नेग्लेक्ट कर देते हैं ये सोचते हुए कि ये नॉर्मल पीरियड पेन हो रहा है. तो अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है किसी को मतलब इतना सिवियर है कि अपनी डे टू डे एक्टिविटीज़ ही नहीं वो कर पा रहा है, या पीरियड स्टार्ट होने के कुछ दिन पहले से वो पेन सिवियर स्टार्ट हो गया है, देन इट शुड बी I mean a medical intervention is needed. That should be seen कि क्यों हो रहा है इतना severe pain.
Right. And so आपने बताया कि you know, so the body is preparing for welcoming the guest.
Right.
Now suppose the guest has already arrived.
हाँ.
So तभी there is no menstruation.
Correct.
Is that what we are saying?
Exactly. क्योंकि वो जो लाइनिंग बनी थी वो उस इनिशियल डेज में उसको नरिश करने के लिए ही बनी थी वो बेबी को. तो वो जब वो नरिश उसको बेबी आ गया तो अब तो उसका काम स्टार्ट हो गया.
Exactly,
हाँ, तो वो गेस्ट को होस्ट करने लगेगा, तो वो लाइनिंग शेड ही नहीं होगी, और वो कंटिन्यूड रहेगी जब तक वो प्रेगनेंसी चल रही है. तो इसलिए देयर इज़ नो पीरियड टिल द टाइम द लेडी इज़ प्रेगनेंट. उसके बाद में देयर इज़ अ कपल ऑफ डेज जब तक भी है, क्योंकि एंडोमेट्रियम वो बहुत उस टाइम थिक होती है, उसको शेड होने में जैसे नॉर्मल अगर 3 to 7 डेज तक होती है तो उसमें बहुत टाइम भी लग सकता है. सो दैट ब्लीडिंग कैन गो अप टू लाइक 15 days or वो, but it is not same as how it happens.
Yeah. Now is this information available to people or it's still
see everyone is a Google doctor these days. But I would say, and I tell this every time to everyone, there is no harm in going and checking for the facts, but do it on some authentic websites.
Correct.
So I don't know I should be taking the names or not, but अगर आपको कभी भी कोई मेडिकल इन्फॉर्मेशन देखनी है, so rather than just doing a random Google search कि आपने सिर्फ कीवर्ड डाला और आपको जो पहले दूसरे तीसरे वेबसाइट आ गए उस पर पढ़ लो, go and read it on some authentic resources. For example जैसे कि बहुत अच्छे इंस्टीट्यूशनल वेबसाइट्स हैं, WebMD है, Mayo Clinic है, so they should be your Bible. आप वहाँ जाके रिसर्च, और वहाँ पे सबसे अच्छी चीज़ है कि बहुत सिंपल लैंग्वेज में लिखा हुआ है।
अच्छा।
WebMD या इस तरह की वेबसाइट पे ऐसा नहीं लिखा हुआ है कि आपको बिल्कुल एक टेक्निकल उसमें लिखा हुआ है। इट्स वेरी नॉर्मल लेमैन सर, सो दैट इज योर बेस्ट रिसोर्स टू गो एंड डू योर Google search for anything.
Right. There is a big thing about sustainability these days. So, does the period products, are these products sustainable, or is there a work that is being done to make these products sustainable?
Of course, there are sustainable
and
environment friendly products available now. So, आपको पता है पहले क्या था? We started with cloth, and cloth is the best product, I would say, if it is clean and dry.
Oh, okay.
If it is clean and dry.
Yeah.
That is most important. तो कपड़े से स्टार्ट हुआ था, उसके बाद में बहुत सारे इनोवेशंस होते गए. नाउ वी हैड दोज डिस्पोजेबल पैड्स, जो मतलब जेल और बहुत कुछ टेक्नोलॉजी है उसके अंदर कि एवरीथिंग दैट गोज इन एनी लिक्विड बिकम्स जेल सॉर्ट, सो लीकेज और स्टेनिंग का कोई पॉसिबिलिटी ही नहीं है. बट और एंड दे आर वंडरफुल, आई वुड से. आई मीन उसके बाद जो इतना स्ट्रेस रहता है बहुत सारा, वो सब, आई मीन इट्स अ वंडरफुल प्रोडक्ट, डिस्पोजेबल सैनिटरी पैड, वेरी इजी, कन्वीनियंट टू यूज़. लेकिन क्योंकि ये ऐसे मटेरियल का बना होता है, मोस्ट ऑफ द सैनिटरी पैड्स जो बायोडिग्रेडेबल नहीं है, यानी कि आप ऐसे समझ लीजिए कि वो एक ऐसी चीज़ के बने हैं जैसे कि प्लास्टिक, एंड वी ऑल नो कि हाउ हार्मफुल प्लास्टिक इज़. So if I give you a very obnoxious example, जो पहला सैनिटरी पैड बना होगा दुनिया में, वो आज भी ऑन द फेस ऑफ अर्थ कहीं ना कहीं पड़ा होगा. क्योंकि इट माइट टेक, यू डोंट नो, उतनी तो रिसर्च भी नहीं है, 500, 600, 700, 800 years फॉर दैट टू गेट डिकम्पोज्ड. सो वो जो वेस्ट है सैनिटरी, इट्स अ ह्यूज बर्डन. तो एक वो है उसके साथ में प्रॉब्लम. तो अब जब प्रॉब्लम थी तो ऑफ कोर्स सॉल्यूशंस आ ही जाते हैं, निकलने आ जाते हैं इनोवेशंस. तो सबसे पहले तो ये चीज़ स्टार्ट हुई कि क्या उस मटेरियल को हम ऐसी चीज़ में सब्स्टिट्यूट कर सकते हैं जो बायोडिग्रेडेबल यानी डिकम्पोज हो सकती है. सो आजकल वुड पल्प के, बनाना पल्प के, इन सब चीज़ों के मटेरियल से जो अंदर का उसका जो लेयर है उसे चेंज कर रहे हैं, एंड दैट्स हाउ इट इज़ बिकमिंग a biodegradable product. So they are again disposable pads.
Okay.
So there are disposable tampons available. So there are biodegradable pads and biodegradable tampons available, which are of course environment friendly.
Right.
Talking of sustainability. Now sustainability is something which can be taken for a longer run.
Correct.
अब क्योंकि एक साइक्लिक प्रोसेस है, हर महीने लगने वाली चीज़ है.
Correct.
So इसमें सस्टेनेबिलिटी लाने के लिए couple of things are there in the market, जैसे कि menstrual cup. Now menstrual cup is a small I would say a product, insertable product. It's not something that you can put on your underwear. Rather it has to be inserted in the vaginal canal. It is a collective device. It's not a soaking device, just like a pad. It collects the blood which is coming from the uterus, and it sits in the vagina. So that is, you buy one menstrual cup, it will last up to 7-8 years, maybe longer. A very good quality will cost you around like 600-700. The amount of money you will save for all those years is huge.
I mean it's like
it's huge. Yeah. So that is sustainability in period products.
Right.
Then now since cloth we have already discussed is a great product to use in these days, but of course it had its limitations because it can leak, and the soaking was not that good which is there in the pads.
Right.
So now a better version of that cloth has come in form of reusable cloth pads.
Okay.
Now these reusable cloth pads are completely made of cotton material, and but it has to be reused, so it has to be washed and it has to be dried perfectly and reused. So again the sustainability part is there.
Right.
Then there are other products such as period panties are there, menstrual disc is there. So all these are sustainable and eco-friendly products.
Okay, great, wonderful. So what are the key challenges that you face during educating people on menstruation?
Challenges बहुत ज़्यादा हैं और बहुत strong हैं. I'll tell you what, सबसे जो बड़ा चैलेंज है वो तो ये है कि सामने वाले को लगता है हमें सब कुछ पता है इसके बारे में. ये क्यों बताने आए? तो आप सोचिए जो एजुकेटेड है, वर्किंग क्लास है, उनको लगता है यार पता है मुझे 20 साल से हो रहा है, अब ये मेरे को क्या नया बताने आए हैं. यानी इतना क्लोज्ड है वो माइंडसेट कि उनको लगता है कि इसमें और कुछ नया है ही नहीं जो हमें समझना है। और जब हम उनसे कुछ छोटे क्वेश्चंस करते हैं तब उनको पता चलता है अच्छा ये तो मुझे पता ही नहीं था। सो एक वो चैलेंज है हमारा माइंडसेट कि हमें लगता नहीं है कि हमें इसके बारे में कुछ नया पता करना है। दूसरा चैलेंज ऑफ कोर्स जब आप कम्युनिटी में जाते हैं तो क्योंकि टैबू है, क्योंकि बहुत क्लोज्ड एक कॉन्वर्जेशन है इसके लिए, तो वहाँ पे जो स्पेशली जो हमारे जो सीनियर सिटीजन ग्रुप बोलूँगी, जो नानी दादी वाला जो एज ग्रुप है, वो बहुत मतलब स्टॉन्च होते हैं इस चीज़ के ऊपर कि वो दे डोंट वांट टू लिसन टू द लॉजिक बिहाइंड व्हाट वी आर स्पीकिंग। फॉर एग्जांपल जब हम मिथ्स और टैबूज के बारे में बात करते हैं, हम कहते हैं कि आजी कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ेगा, कि आप खाना को हाथ लगा सकते हैं, आपकी बहू या आपकी नाती, कोई अचार ख़राब नहीं होगा, ये वो, तो वो हमें एकदम फ्लैटली मना कर देती, नहीं नहीं तुम्हें नहीं पता है, हमारे पुराने टाइम से ऐसा होता आया है और यही सही है, ये तुम लोग नया नया पढ़ के आ जाते हो और तुम ये सब बात बोलने लगते हो, तो ऐसा नहीं है। सो वहाँ पे उनका एक जो बहुत ही माइंडसेट जो स्ट्रॉन्ग एक अपने कन्विक्शन है जिस चीज़ के लिए, विच वी रिस्पेक्ट ऑल्सो, क्योंकि हम ये नहीं कहते हैं कि जो चीज़ें उन्होंने जो फॉलो करते आ रहे हैं वो बिल्कुल गलत है, क्योंकि हमारे पास इस चीज़ की एक्सप्लेनेशन है कि जो भी मिथ्स एंड टैबूज रखे गए थे पहले से बने हैं, आई वुड नॉट से मिथ्स एंड टैबूज, बट मैं कहूँगी जो प्रैक्टिसेस चली आ रही हैं, जैसे कि एक था कि खाने को हाथ मत लगाओ या साइड में बैठो, बेड पे मत, उसके रीजंस थे कि रिसोर्सेज ही नहीं थे। क्या पहले हमारे पास सैनिटरी पैड्स थे या मेंस्ट्रुअल कप था, तो ऑफ कोर्स स्टेनिंग होने के और ड्रिपिंग होने के फुल चांसेस थे, तो इस वजह से बोला जाता था। प्लस पहले इतना ज़्यादा स्ट्रेनियस वर्क था और मेंस्ट्रुएशन बीइंग अ वेरी डिस्कम्फर्टिंग आई मीन पीरियड फॉर अ लॉट ऑफ वुमेन, तो उनको बोला जाता था तुम आराम करो, दैट मेड सेंस,
राइट।
तो वो सारी प्रैक्टिसेस ऑफ कोर्स इट मेड सेंस देन, लेकिन अब हम आज के सिनेरियो में देखते हैं तो मेरे पास मिक्सी है, मेरे पास वॉशिंग मशीन है, मुझे कुच भी फिजिकल वर्क ऐसा लेबर नहीं करना है जो मुझे ऐसा लगे कि नहीं मेरे को तो लेटे ही रहना है,
राइट।
प्लस मेरे पास इतने हाइजीन के लिए मैं इतनी कॉन्शियस हूँ कि मैं बार बार हाथ भी धोऊंगी, मैं अपना जो सैनिटरी पैड है वो भी टाइम से चेंज कर रही हूँ, तो बहुत सारे हमारे हाइजीन से ही प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो गए। सो जो ये खाना ख़राब होता था या जो इस तरह की चीज़ें थी जो क्रॉस कंटेमिनेशन से हो रही थी बेसिकली, अब उसका स्कोप नहीं रह गया है,
राइट।
सो वो करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। दिस इज़ व्हाट वी वांट टू टेल।
आई फाइंड इट वेरी कंट्रास्टिंग दैट यू नो आवर सोल्जर्स they bleed because they are fighting for the nation.
I know.
Yeah. And you know that is considered as उन्हें शहीद माना जाता है, right? And वो खून को appreciation या prestige मिलती है, लेकिन इस खून को जो उन ही सैनिकों को पैदा करते हैं करने की क्षमता है उसमें, या so and that becomes like a taboo, which is very sad. Yeah, but I think
period blood is the only blood which is not which doesn't come out because of an injury.
Yeah,
right, it is the only form of blood.
Exactly. I'd like to ask how can a corporate in the corporate world, how can they participate in spreading awareness and or supporting NGOs such as yours to promote education cum hygiene to a wider audience, because I think it will require a collaborative effort.
So of course CSRs and I mean they are absolutely doing their bit. I mean जैसे मैंने पहले भी कहा कि गवर्नमेंट कर रही है, लेकिन मुझे लगता है उससे ज़्यादा जो काम है वो नॉन गवर्नमेंटल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस और CSR की वजह से हो रहा है। तो ऑफ कोर्स CSRs दे कैन सबके पास ना CSR में आपको पता है कि हेड्स होते हैं कि हेल्थ है, एजुकेशन है, चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट है, तो हेल्थ वो एक बड़ा एक वो मानते हैं। अगर वो लोग MHM यानी मेंस्ट्रुअल हेल्थ एंड हाइजीन मैनेजमेंट को उस हेल्थ में उठा के सामने रख के उसके अराउंड जो प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं वो क्रिएट करेंगे, सो दैट इज़ गोइंग टू बी ऑफ ह्यूज हेल्प कि 2 साल 3 साल जो लंबे प्रोजेक्ट चलते हैं जिसमें आपको इम्पैक्ट दिखता है, तो उस तरह के प्रोजेक्ट्स के ऊपर थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखेंगे, तो ऑफ कोर्स इट इज़ गोइंग टू हेल्प अ लॉट द कम्युनिटी। तो ये है कि CSR जब बनाने वाले जो प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं तो उनको MHM इन इटसेल्फ एज एन आइडेंटिटी एक एंटिटी देखना चाहिए, नॉट हेल्थ इन जनरल। वो एक चीज़ है। दूसरा CSR अगर कॉर्पोरेट्स की आप बात कर रहे हैं कैसे उसमें ये कर सकते हैं, तो आजकल आपने शायद पढ़ा हो पेपर में कि पीरियड पॉलिसी के बारे में काफ़ी बात हो रही है. सो नाउ व्हाट इज़ अ पीरियड पॉलिसी कि कॉर्पोरेट्स को जैसे कि पॉश है, इट इज़ अ मैंडेट फॉर देम. तो अगर हम पीरियड पॉलिसी को भी अपने उसका एक इंटीग्रल पार्ट बना लेंगे तो भी आपकी जो एम्प्लॉय वर्कफोर्स है, जो मेंस्ट्रुएटर्स हैं, उनको मतलब इट इज़ रियली गोइंग टू बेनिफिट देम एंड द बिजनेस एज वेल. सो बेसिकली पीरियड पॉलिसी कोई बहुत एक्सटेंसिव कुछ ये नहीं है, सिर्फ आपको इतना करना है उसके अंदर कि ऑफ कोर्स एक पीरियड प्रोडक्ट आपको प्रोवाइड करना है अपने जो रेस्ट रूम्स हैं उसके अंदर. एंड नॉट ओनली दैट, आप पीरियड लीव का एक अरेंजमेंट कर सकते हो मेंस्ट्रुएटर के लिए. एक छोटा सा सेफ स्पेस बना सकते हो जहाँ पे अगर इफ शी ही और शी आई मीन द मेंस्ट्रुएटर इज अनकंफर्टेबल कैन गो एंड सिट फॉर अ वाइल. वहाँ पे सेफ स्पेस हो चेंज करने के लिए. कुछ ऐसे प्रोडक्ट्स हों अगर डिस्कम्फर्ट है, यानी कि जो एक पीरियड स्टेशन जैसी चीज़ होती है वहाँ पे सब तरह के प्रोडक्ट्स हो सकते हैं, पेन मैनेजमेंट के हो सकते हैं, रोल ऑन्स हैं, कंफर्टिंग. सो एक ऑन द होल इकोसिस्टम अगर आप अपने कॉर्पोरेट में इंट्रोड्यूस करो जो कि एक मेंस्ट्रुएटर की जो नीड्स हैं एट द वर्क प्लेस उसको केटर करता है, सो दैट इज़ रियली गोइंग टू बेनिफिट द कॉर्पोरेट. आई थिंक एक और चीज़ कॉर्पोरेट्स क्या कर सकते हैं, जब हम अवेयरनेस के बारे में आप बात करें तो एक तो CSR हो गया, दैट इज़ अ डिफरेंट थिंग. पीरियड पॉलिसी आपके एम्प्लॉय के लिए हो गई, लेकिन एक और अवेयरनेस की जब आप एम्प्लॉय एंगेजमेंट की ही बात कर रहे हैं तो उसके अंदर आप कुछ इस तरह का कर सकते हैं कि मे बी आप अपने किसी कोई डे आप ऐसा रख सकते हो जब वो वहाँ पे एक कियोस्क जैसा, एक स्टॉल जैसा कर सकते हो जहाँ पे आप जो पीरियड प्रोडक्ट अवेयरनेस के ऊपर एक छोटा सा स्टॉल क्रिएट करवा सकते हो जिसमें जितने प्रोडक्ट्स हैं. तो अगर मैं आपको बताऊं, अगर कोई वर्कफोर्स काम कर रही है आपके और आप उनको किसी में मान लो 100 फीमेल्स हैं वहाँ काम कर रही हैं और आप शायद उनको पूछोगे तो शायद 10 या 15 को भी नहीं पता होगा कि व्हाट इज़ अ मेंस्ट्रुअल कप या हाउ डज इट लुक लाइक, राइट. यूजेज की तो बात ही अलग है, या क्लॉथ पैड क्या होता है. तो उनको वो अवेयरनेस अगर आप एक कोई छोटा सा वीक सेलिब्रेट करके या कुछ ऐसा करके और वहाँ पे स्टेशन बना दो, वहाँ पे एक एजुकेटर रहेगा जो वो ये नॉलेज को वहाँ ही से डिसेमिनेट करे कि एनीवन हु हैज़ द टाइम कैन जस्ट वॉक इन एंड देयर कुड बी एन एरे ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स एंड दे कैन पिक एंड चूज एंड अंडरस्टैंड द प्रोज एंड कॉन्स एंड एवरीथिंग. सो उस तरह का एक नॉलेज, एक कियोस्क बनाओ, कभी 2 दिन के लिए, 1 दिन के लिए. सो वो भी ऑल टुगेदर एक बहुत अच्छा एम्प्लॉय एंगेजमेंट एक्टिविटी है.
Is there something called as a period week?
Period?
International period week?
No, there is an International Menstrual Hygiene Day, MH Day.
Okay.
Which is celebrated on 28th of May.
28th of May, okay. So that needs, okay.
I will tell you why it is celebrated. Also has a very interesting background to it.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Why it is 28/5. May is 5th month.
Yeah.
28/5. So on an average 28 days का cycle होता है. And a normal average period lasts for 5 days. So that's how it is. The MH Day is celebrated on 28th of May.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting fact.
I wouldn't have found it out if you know, I would have just read about it.
So we have a train the trainer program.
Yeah.
So we do that.
Yeah.
So what we do, we train the trainer as in, it could be anyone. As an employee engagement activity also, sometimes the corporate they say we have a volunteering month going on.
Right.
So in that what we can do, we can train the people who are interested. So we'll train them how to talk about this in the community.
Right.
Now once they are trained, they can, whenever they get time, they can go to the communities nearby their places, any basti, any you know slum kind of, they can do their volunteering over there. But they need to be taught. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the trainer is very good for corporates who want to volunteer.
Perfect. Can you share a bit about your experience with Guinness book?
Wonderful experience it was. So how it started?
What was the purpose?
Right, exactly. So when we applied, so while we keep on, I keep on looking at different activities in the purview of this whole thing, menstruation and period poverty and everything, and sustainable products. Every time the motive is to initiate conversation, to start that conversation कि कुछ आप करोगे तो उसके बारे में बात होगी और उसी से हम ये conversation को normalize कर पाएंगे. So जैसे हमने पुणे की first period party करी थी in 2018 I guess. हाँ.
Okay.
So it was a term called period party, where we invited a lot of people, men, women, and all sorts of people. And it was a huge hit. It got a lot of media attention also because, I mean, who
It's
does
the
a
first
period
time,
party?
yeah,
Who does
yeah.
a period party? So the
Yeah.
theme was all related with, we had a huge cake, and then we talked about all the
okay.
things that we speak in, how to normalize the conversation, and a lot of the fun games were there, a lot of things
Acha,
were there.
okay.
So that activity was, it grabbed a lot of eyeballs, and our intention to grab the eyeballs is, you will talk about it. When you will listen about it, you will discuss with your family, with your friends, ki
Yeah.
something like this is happening, and from there maybe the conversation and the awkwardness will go away about this whole thing. So that is usually the concept. So similarly with the Guinness that we attempted and we received also. So we thought of creating buzz about sustainable menstruation, and we thought how we are going to do that. We thought we'll create world's largest mosaic image using biodegradable sanitary pads.
Okay. The image of a sanitary pad.
No, the image was of various products. So there was this menstrual cup and a biodegradable tampon and a cloth pad,
okay.
and it was huge. I remember it was like 40 feet by 30 feet something.
My God.
Yeah, it was a
Wow.
huge image, and only small pieces of more than 7,000 pads were used, biodegradable pad, different
God.
in color wrapping.
Uh-huh.
It was a huge effort. It took us almost 9 months from the
To
start
plan,
to plan and to execute.
Right.
So, and of course it did what it was meant to do. I mean, people were talking about it, a lot of media captured it, and that
Right.
was the intention, that people are going to talk about sustainable menstruation and periods as such.
Right, right. Great, fantastic. And how did you approach Guinness Book? I mean, this is what you were going to do, and you applied
so
for.
the process I'll tell you. So you have to go to your website and you need to select what you want to attempt for. Then you wait for 3 months.
Oh.
Even for their yes or no to come, and
Okay.
absolutely there is no contact number, no email ID, nothing that you can cross check with them.
Lots
so you
of
just
patience.
have to apply there. I want to do this. A lot of formalities are there that you need to fill in. So once you receive a go ahead from them, then they send you a whole list of documentation that you have to have this. I mean, it's an extensive work that they would require to.
For sign off.
For sign off, right. So that's how it takes. Then of course the preparation, getting those pads made and the colors and everything, and looking for the place.
My
and
God,
everything. So it was a big task.
You need a designer. Or
we did hire a graphic designer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because you need to count how many pads, which color you need.
Exactly,
so it was graphically counted,
40 feet by
pixelated.
30.
I don't know how she did it. And she created them in the small pixel form. Then she told us you will be needing
X number of so colors.
This, like that.
My God, it's a.
It was a huge task.
But I think it's worth it.
It was definitely worth it.
Yeah. And worth reaching Guinness Book of World Record.
Yes,
absolutely.
Right.
Great. Any book coming on period education?
Yeah, we already have.
You do? Okay.
We already have.
Can you?
Yeah, absolutely. So what happened ki when we started going to these Zilla Parishad schools, the government schools, we realized that we are going there, we are talking for 1 hour something, we are telling the girls so much, and they are like 11-old, 12-year-old girls. How much are they going to retain?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there has to be a reference material which we should be leaving behind, which they can refer to any time.
Right.
Now, of course, there are plenty of books and reading material available online, and you can order through all the platforms and everything in books.
Right.
Most of them are in English.
Right.
Foreign authors. But I wanted something which is good for the sensibility of this particular audience and their understanding level. So, of course, there are comic books available for this particular topic. But the book that I have written is a story book. So in the complete story format with beautiful illustrations and everything. So the whole thing is, I mean, it has different chapters targeting to all the aspects of periods, and the book is not at all like a school book or something. So it's a very interesting book. The name is
I'm sure about that.
Tinki, Pinki and Achaar.
Tinki Pinki
And
Aam
Aam
Ka
Ka
Achaar.
Achaar.
Oh wow, it's got a ring to it, right?
Ring
I
to
mean,
it,
yeah.
and the Aam Ka Achaar also has, of course, a
Yeah, relevance,
relevance to
absolutely.
it. Yeah. So the story is about two young girls and how they are talking about what is happening. So it's a very interesting story. So what we did initially, we published it in Hindi. Then we realized that of course our major work is in Maharashtra, so we translated in Marathi.
Okay.
Then we received a requirement from the Chinar Corps, Srinagar Army, the Cant. I don't know how they got this Hindi book, and they contacted us and they said ki we want to distribute this book to the masses under their Mission Sadbhavna. There is a project. We want to distribute it to the masses, but nobody reads Hindi here, so it has to be in Urdu.
Oh, okay.
So again, we translated it. Rather, we changed the complete story in the background of Kashmir.
Yeah, because it has to. Yeah.
Yeah. So all the illustrations and everything, the shikara is there and everything else, and the names and sab kuch we changed, and it almost came out as a new book, and that is there in Urdu.
Great,
Right.
fantastic.
So we have 3
and
versions.
how do you buy it? Is there a website?
So no, basically it is not for retail selling as of now.
Right.
It is sometimes the corporates they okay, we want to distribute 1,000 books or whatever. So when someone asks for a bulk order, maybe 50, 100, then we give it to them. Yeah.
Okay, great.
शर्म नहीं क्षमता है, तमस नहीं उजियारा है, जीवन के निर्माण की क्या इससे बड़ी निशानी है? सैनिक अपना खून बहाए देश की रक्षा करने को, दुनिया कहाँ ये बन पाती, औरत बहाती न खून जो। स्वच्छ रहे, ध्यान रखें, औरों को भी सजग बनाए, कमज़ोर नहीं हमजोली हैं, काबिल स्वाभिमानी है, शर्म नहीं क्षमता है, तमस नहीं उजियारा है।